Hi, Lisandra. Good to hear from you, and thank you for your beautiful comment. I did happen to see that on TikTok. Appreciate you. So we are questioning what's going on with this friend Ricky that you've known for some time and that you have not been in contact with for a little bit. Energetically, I pick up that he could be kind of a lesson in your life. So I did pull out one of the Soul's Journey lesson decks. So we're going to start with that. We're going to see if it gives us any clarity. I've got like 4 decks out. We're going to see what we can get you for some clarity here. So, Spirit, what is going on with Lisandra and this Ricky fellow? Let's see what we need to know. What's going on with him? What is happening under the current energy? There we go. Love. So I definitely feel like you have a strong affinity for him, whether you call it love or something else. You know, we can have platonic love. We can have soul love. We can have, you know, romantic love, things like that. There's a lot of different types of love. This one says, I commit to the practice of seeing the good in all things. So this card is really beautiful, and it indicates that instead of seeing all the faults in people or the faults in ourselves, we need to honor the good things. So clearly you've been friends with this person for some time, right? And so I feel like you may need some boundaries with this person if they're going to continue to go down a path that you don't want to participate in. There's nothing wrong with setting some healthy boundaries for yourself. There's nothing that says that you can't love this person from a distance until they figure out how to get back on track if they do, or that you can, you know, decide what your boundaries need to be in this situation. But this is a commitment to yourself to not accept less than what you deserve, and it's also a commitment for you to kind of stand on your own 2 feet and realize that some of the love that we pour out, we also have to start by giving that back to ourselves first. So commit to the practice of seeing the good in all things, including yourself. What else does she need to know? What are some soul lessons that she needs to know? Guilt. I release any beliefs that no longer assist in my soul's growth. So I will tell you a little personal story that many years ago I was in a really crummy relationship with a raging alcoholic that tried to kill me one night by strangling me. He had been very ill. He had been on a lot of medications. He wasn't eating, but he was mixing medication and alcohol, and it created this really negative side effect where he was really enraged one day for no real apparent reason. So I will tell you that I held on to a lot of guilt for a long time, thinking that maybe I could have somehow saved him or changed him or all of these things, but I had to realize that he had to want to change to get better. So one of the things that Spirit's trying to show you in this is that you need to replace all of those negative, heavy feelings of shame, guilt, regret, all of those things, replace those with a love frequency. And what that's going to do is it relieves you of that burden that it's your problem, because it's not your problem. While you might really love this person, you could really care about this person, you don't want anything bad to happen to them. If they continuously choose to go down a path that isn't good for them, you cannot necessarily stop that, right? As much as we wish we could, because I've lost friends and family to addiction myself. But I will tell you that holding on to the guilt is not going to help you in any way, shape, or form, nor does it help them in any way, shape, or form. So release any beliefs that no longer assist in your soul's growth. We've got to go forward. All right, what else does she need to know? Balance, yes. I bring a state of perfect harmony into my world, and I do so without judgment. So if this person is creating conflict, chaos, imbalance in your life, then you need to figure out what sort of boundaries that you want to have with this person. Maybe you can't continue to be involved with them even in a friendship unless they're sober. Maybe that will set you back on where you're supposed to be. You're going to have to decide what creates the balance in your life. What are some things that Spirit's trying to show you that you need to let go of because it's causing you to be kind of like the scales are tipped one way or the other, right? So you have to kind of sometimes take an objective look, right? Remove the emotions from the situation because clearly you care about this person. Or it'd be like, oh, they're doing things I don't want to be a part of. Bye, see ya. That's not the case, and I can tell that. So I feel like there's some issues with boundaries going on, and I feel like there's some things that you maybe need to eliminate because they're causing a little bit of chaos for you. What else do we have? Humor. I choose to focus on the lighter side of life. And I love that it's a laughing Buddha. So that tells me that things have been a little bit heavy. I feel like you've been dealing with a lot on your plate. And I can't remember how long it's been since I read for you last. But I do remember reading for you during a live. So I feel like a lot of things have changed for you energetically in the last several months to a year. But I feel like sometimes we get like caught up in all the stuff that's going on. And so can you pause for just a minute and take the weight off your shoulders of the world? Let go of all the heavy load in the baggage for just a minute. You can pick it back up if you so choose. But can you set it down for just a minute? And can you find a reason to smile? Can you find a reason to laugh or to see the lighter side in life? Because Spirit's trying to show you it doesn't have to be heavy unless you want it to be. It's always a choice. So let's see what we've got going on for you with the tarot. Tell us what we need to know about the situation with Lisandra and with Ricky. What's going on? Ooh. What is happening with Lisandra and Ricky? What does she need to know about this situation? Queen of Cups, Ten of Wands. Yeah. So you, my dear, are probably very loving, very caring, very nurturing, empathetic, a natural giver. And sometimes we're the world's doormat because we have such a big heart that we want to help everybody. Unfortunately, we can't save the world. So there are some things that Spirit's trying to show you they want you to let go of, right? The Ten of Wands is seen as a heavy load, a burden, the weight of the world on your shoulders. And so it's an indication that it's time to release something that isn't serving your highest good, whether that's friends, family, work, whatever it happens to be. We're at this point where we can't keep going backwards. We've got to make some forward progress. And you have the Sun. Love that. So the Sun is usually seen as the happiest card in tarot. It's Leo energy, and we just enter Cancer season on this Saturday, tomorrow. So it'll be Cancer season for about 3.5 weeks, and then we go from Cancer to Leo. So about mid-July into mid-August is Leo season. So this is right around the corner. So you have a lot of happiness, fresh starts, and new beginnings coming for you as soon as mid-July, so just a few weeks away. The Sun is also seen as marriage, commitment, union, but it's about accomplishments, it's about joy, it's about happiness. It's literally seen as the happiest card in tarot for a reason. So I feel like Spirit's trying to give you like a fresh start, a new beginning, or even a do-over somewhere in your life. Something that brings you joy. You aren't going to have to necessarily fight and, scrap for this. It's going to be given to you, and it's going to be given to you freely. What else does she need to see? So you could be dealing with a water sign, Cancer, Pisces, or Scorpio, fire energy, Aries, Sagittarius, or Leo with the Sun card, the Tower. Some major changes are coming for you. Truthfully, the entire collective is going through kind of an upheaval and transformation because we're accelerating through our ascension process, and we're accelerating on the path of going to the new earth or the fifth dimension, Christ consciousness, love, light, etc. So that involves a lot of change. The Tower is symbolic for destruction, but it doesn't have to be scary. It's like, I always try and paint a picture with the Tower so that people aren't completely freaked out by it. Because some people think that the Tower is really awful. Oh my gosh, everything's falling apart. Sometimes when everything in your life seems to be falling apart, it's Spirit's way of removing the things that don't serve your highest good to get you on the right track so that you can rebuild and be stronger than before. That's literally what this Tower symbolizes, is that you have to kind of like, let's say you were going to build a new house, but there's already a house on the property and it's in shambles. Okay, well, you've got to take like a wrecking ball and equipment and remove what's there so you have a fresh space to start. So that's kind of what this Tower moment is symbolizing. You also have the Knight of Swords. So this is somebody getting ready to take action, and they're gathering their confidence, their courage, and their bravery to do so. Knights in tarot bring news. So there's some sort of news either coming from an air sign, a Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, to a water sign, or vice versa. What else does she need to know? Chariot in reverse. So there is this period of stagnation. I also get the sense there could have been a lack of communication about something. Maybe something's kind of been held up for some reason. There isn't a lot of forward progress, and it's just like everything's at a standstill. So the Chariot also would imply things like moving, homes, jobs, relocating, purchasing vehicles, things like that. For some reason, there's like a hold up there. There's a delay. Why is there a delay, Spirit? What's going on? King of Wands and the Page of Cups. So I do think that one of you has definitely got fire placement. So Aries, Sagittarius, or Leo. The King of Wands is usually a natural born leader. They're somebody that's quite charming. They're somebody that's charismatic, but they're also a go-getter. They're a doer. They're adventurous, and they know exactly what they want out of life, and they kind of don't take any prisoners. They just go after what it is that they want. They don't really let a lot stop them, right? They're chasing their dreams. They're chasing their aspirations, their ambitions, and they really seek to win at all cost. So I feel like you're dealing with somebody who really fits that. And the Page of Cups. I do feel like there is some love here. I really do. What's funny is in this depiction, if you look closely, we have this man and he's holding a chalice, but he's staring at the bigger chalice. It's almost like somebody has their eye on the prize, and that could be somebody that's looking at you that way, thinking that they do want to come forward with a love offer, but again, there's this stagnation, okay? So there's this hesitation. Somebody needs to find their confidence, and something is kind of holding these things back. What is holding it back, Spirit? Yeah, self-imposed restriction. So it's either them that's holding themselves back. You could be dealing with a Pisces as well, or it's you. So however it happens to fit. If you're willing to communicate, then this is the other person's energy that's real hesitant to come forward. I'm also channeling, I feel like this person thinks they let you down. I feel like this person thinks that they're a disappointment because they had issues. You know, addictions are a real thing, and it's, you know, not necessarily their fault. It's a chemical imbalance in the body that makes them crave these things that are destructive in nature. So I feel like this person is at a very low point. I feel like this person is hesitant to communicate because it's almost like they don't want to hear "I told you so." Not that you would do that or anything, but I get this strong sense that it's like they already know they messed up, and they really just don't want to hear it from anyone, especially people that they feel like they have on kind of a pedestal or that they value their opinion. So I feel like this person is holding themselves back even though they really do want to come forward. What else does she need to know? Yeah, Five of Pentacles. There could also be some financial struggles going on, either on your side or their side. I think you mentioned that this person was incarcerated and out on bail or something like that, out on bond. So financially, that's probably really draining for this person right now, but they are going towards a period of recovery. What's awesome about the Five of Pentacles is it's not just finances. Finances are included, but that's not all it entails. The Five of Pentacles is also recovery. Literally, if you look it up online, it will tell you in the upright it means recovery from illness, injury, surgery, or financial loss or ruin. So that's the positive. So we go from a holding pattern to improvements and recovery. So I love that. What else does she need to know about Ricky in this situation, please? Yeah. So there will be a breakthrough. There will be some sort of truth, clarity, epiphany coming through. I feel like if there was anything that's hidden, that's going to also be revealed. And I do feel like within the next 5 days, I think we have it's either a new moon or a full moon. I can't remember for sure. I want to say it's the 25th. So that's going to illuminate some things. So it might take a little bit. We're going to pull some timing for you as well. And the star, I love that. So I do feel like there's some divine timing at work here because this other person is really working through a lot of crap. I feel like this person holds a lot back. I feel like this person has been through some things in life. I feel like this person has a lot of inner turmoil or inner demons, inner shadow aspects that they really need to work through. We all do. We all have something. But I feel like that's what causes this person to use whatever they use to kind of mask the pain or to hide from the shame that maybe they feel for whatever this was. no matter how long ago it happened. It could have happened a month ago. It could have happened, 30, 40 years ago. It doesn't matter. It's wounds that we carry that need to come to the surface for healing. So this person has some things, it sounds like, that they need to work through, and they may need to seek out like professional counsel or help. I do shadow work readings as well, and it's a way to kind of uncover maybe what's holding you back, uncover some of these things that maybe we're not ready to acknowledge, so that we can finally break the cycle and heal and go forward. So I want to see if there's any signs that you need to not ignore here. Yep, silver lining, love it. Find the good in a bad situation. So that's going to be really important for you. You had another card here that was saying very similar, it's your very first card of love. And it says, I commit to the practice of seeing the good in all things. Okay, I commit to the practice of seeing the good in all things. And the silver lining, find the good in a bad situation. So that's what Spirit's advising that you do about this. Find the good. Don't ignore all the bad, but hopefully the good outweighs the bad, right? Any other signs for her to not ignore? Delivery, interesting. Incoming package, special delivery, or gift. I'm seeing flowers showing up for you. I see bright colors like yellows, oranges, purples, a beautiful bouquet of flowers. This could also be a garden, but specifically I see a knock at the door and a delivery for you. I feel like this person comes and apologizes in some way, shape, or form, but they do feel like they've let you down. All right, what else does she need to see? What are the signs for her to not ignore? Yeah, karma. So this actually came out reversed. So karma basically is what you put out comes back around. So what goes around comes back around. It's in the reverse. This person has already put out the energy, and I feel like this relapse was actually the karma for something that I feel like they broke a promise to themselves more than anything else. I feel like they broke a promise to themselves, and I feel like they're more disappointed that they let themselves down than they are worried about anybody else and what their opinions of the situation are. I feel like they're kind of dealing with their own shit, basically. They're coming to terms with what they've done, or they soon will, because that comes out with the Ace of Swords, the clarity, the truth is being revealed. It's almost like Spirit kind of shines a light on it and says, this is the repercussions for what has happened, and now you have to choose what you want to do going forward. So there's always a choice, and they're going to have to make that decision, and only they can make that. Yeah. This person could also be selfish. So if that's something that you feel like is a red flag, where maybe they're not really interested in helping change the situation for the better, then you've got to establish some boundaries there. You might need to get away from that. Interesting. You do have a fated encounter coming in. So I feel like this, so this card indicates that there's a red string of fate. It's tethered to you and the person that you're meant to be with. And when the time allows, when the timing is right, and when things align, you two will be energetically pulled together and you will meet this person. This, I would say, is somebody that you don't already know. I would say that this is somebody new that you haven't met yet. And when you do meet them, it's fated or destined meeting. Interesting. So let's find out some timing. All right. So the first thing I want to know, Spirit, is she going to hear from Ricky, because she is concerned about this person. So when will she hear from Ricky? It says you have the power to create the timing by taking action. So if you've already reached out to this person and let's say he's not returning your phone calls or your text messages, I would advise that you give this person some space and let them come around to you. Timing for when she will hear from Ricky, please, Spirit. Timing. March. Interesting. March could be significant for some reason or another. It has the number 17 on here, so St. Patrick's Day specifically could be important for timing. Could be someone's birthday, could be when you met this person, could be when you get a special delivery as well. All right, so timing related to Ricky. Timing is pushed back due to blockages. Pretty darn clear right there. That's part of why you haven't heard from him. We have the Chariot in reverse. We have this guilt that they're holding on to, or that you're holding on to, and that's creating a blockage. So they've got to work through this blockage. When is this clarity coming in, Spirit? When is the clarity coming in? May. So you may have some time to wait, unfortunately. May, and then we have 19 on May. So May 19th could be significant as well. I believe that would be Gemini season for that one. And then March 17th would be Pisces season. So could be dealing with Gemini energy, Pisces energy as well. But it's delayed because this person isn't quite ready to like face their karma. Spirit's telling me they're reckoning. They know they've messed up. They know that. And they're trying to figure out how to make it right. So let it be a mystery. So Spirit wants you to just kind of let things be right now. I feel like the more that we force things, the less likely it is to work out the way we want it to. So patience is going to be something that's a little bit hard sometimes. But I feel like when this person's worked on themselves a little bit, they'll come around. And then the next full moon. Again, let me see. It could be the 25th. My calendar's so weird. Like, instead of it being a new moon where it's empty, it's filled in. So I think it's a new moon. So then the next full moon wouldn't be until sometime early July. So around the next full moon could be significant. One more, Spirit. What does she need to know? Indecision is causing delays. So either on your part or their part, there's some delays around, you know, all of these emotions and feelings. I will tell you, I did a collective reading today for the weekend, and the energy was just shit. There's a lot of upheaval going on. The tower's in your reading. Things are being dismantled so that the new beginnings can start. But we first have to clear things out before we get to that point. So I do think that there is some light being shed on maybe where you need to pause. There's some light being shed on things that you need to release. And as far as this person is concerned, if you genuinely care about them and want to know how they're doing, obviously, you know, do what you feel is best. Reach out, let them know if you feel like being there for them, or if the opposite is true. If they reach out and you're like, hey, look, I can't be part of your life if you're going to continue to do these things. As much as I love you, I have to have boundaries. It's not healthy for me and my family, things like that. Whatever you feel like is appropriate for your situation, do those things, because Spirit wants you to find the good in a bad situation. I also feel like sometimes we have like expiration dates, so to speak, on friendships or relationships. So one of my favorite sayings is people come into our life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. If they're coming in for just a season, it's going to be short-lived. They were meant to teach us something and then they are gone. If it's for a reason, once the reason is done, they usually exit our life. And others are in your life for a lifetime. They're like soulmate or soul cluster energy. And so those people are going to kind of go through the trenches with you, so to speak, through life, because you're meant to experience all of these twists and turns and things together. So sometimes, as painful as it can be, we lose people as we ascend because they're not ready to commit to that journey. It's not something that can be forced. It's something that is an individual journey, and we're all on different timelines of what we're here to do. This is something that that soul chose to learn from in this lifetime, and no one can force their hand to change it. It's a lesson that they're here to learn. So as painful as it is for the outsiders watching this, you can love them and send them energy from afar. You don't have to be mixed up in the things. You can choose to love them from the outside. And you'd be amazed at kind of some of the changes that you'll see in people just by, it's making me really emotional. I know you care very deeply about this person, but I feel like you almost need to energetically detach, and you need to just send them love and healing energetically. Whether that's prayer, meditation, journaling, however you choose to do that, that will probably go a lot further right now than just trying to, like, you know, help them pick up the pieces, as, you know, painful as that sounds. So I hope this helps. I do think that there's going to be a lot of delays in when you hear from this person, and I feel like this person's not really ready to talk right now, because I feel like their world's kind of imploding on them because of, you know, choices that they made, things like that. And again, I feel like they feel like a disappointment and they're not ready to communicate just yet. So patience. If you choose to be friends with them, I think you need some serious boundaries so that you're not affected negatively by that. And Spirit really wants you to find the lighter side in life. So take the weight off your shoulders, and maybe you find something funny to watch. Maybe you laugh at silly videos on TikTok or something this evening, but it's important that you raise your vibration, because as we ascend, we don't want to keep getting pulled backwards. We want to continue to grow and go forwards. Have a wonderful weekend.